All right, thank you, Brittany. I'm with Bill Mott, who comes in here with Sovereignty. You're outside in this. You have Junior Alvarado coming back to ride. How does it shape up for you today, Bill?
Well, it looks like the complexion of the race, should suit us. I mean, there's plenty of speed on the inside. Hopefully it strings the field out where we can get some position, going into the first turn. And, I think the one variable here is, nobody really knows how their horse is going to run over this track. It's got a lot of moisture in it. It's probably, muddy, and we've never run in the afternoon on a sloppy track. So we've just got to wait and see.
Good luck to you today, Bill.
Okay, thank you.
All right, let's go to Nick.
John Sheriff's won this race 20 years ago with Giacomo. John, you're back, this time with Baeza, 11th hour into the race. How are you feeling about his chance?
I like the outside post for him. There won't be a lot of traffic out there. I think I'll give Pratt a good chance to decide where he can get over.
And how do you feel you can beat journalism today?
Well, we're close in the Santa Anita Derby, and I think if Baeza runs a little improved race, he should be right there.
All right, should be right there, Donna.
I'm with Kate Hunter, who's the Asia representative. She's here with the Japan contingent. Kate, Japan has already started 7 horses in the Derby. They came really close last year, second place finish. What do you think about Luxor Cafe at Admire Daytona today?
I've got one powerhouse and I got one fighter, so hopefully Japan, either Mr. Hori or Mr. Kate will take home that trophy today. I'm really hopeful.
They both have already run on an off track. Luxor Cafe has run particularly well. Do you like to see these off conditions today?
Well, they've never run quite on this, so you never know, but fingers and toes, eyes and ears crossed.
All right, good luck to you.
Thank you.
Let's go to Rebecca.
Thank you. I'm with Flavien Prat on board Baeza. And Flavien, you only took this ride Thursday. You switched to Baeza Thursday. So how excited are you? You've been with them just a couple of days.
Yeah, I'm very excited to get on him. Obviously, I had a chance to ride him in the morning. I really liked him. And so we'll see how he ran today.
Back in 2019, you didn't cross the line first, but you won the Kentucky Derby. There was that disqualification, which is why today, what do you need to do get across that line first?
Yeah, obviously it was a very different experience than usual, but I'll do my best to give him a good ride and cross the line first today.
Where do these conditions rank for you and what you've seen?
Yeah, I mean, it's obviously not great, but I've seen worse.
We wish you luck, Flavien. Thank you so much. Ahmed.
Such a unique scene. Nothing else like it. A unique experience for all those taking part in the walkover on Derby Day, Derby 151. Also, one of the unique traditions on Derby Day is the jockey's portrait. All 19 jockeys together just before they meet their horses in the paddock, which they will do coming up next.
NBC's coverage of the 151st running of the Kentucky Derby is brought to you by Ford, the official horsepower of the Kentucky Derby. By Woodford Reserve, the presenting sponsor of the Kentucky Derby. By Progressive. Protect your auto, home, and business today at progressive.com. And by Pods, trusted with more than 6 million moves.
Guys, look what we found out here. Guy Fieri and his son Hunter.
His first Derby.
It is.
To think that this has been going on this long, I hope everybody gets a chance one day to check it out.
We started coming here 28 years ago.
I like this look you got going on.
I wasn't really trying to do too much. Green is always a good color.
Jason Worth, you're part owner of Flying Mohawk.
We're here. We're nervous as hell, but we'll see how it goes.
Would have been concerning if Jason Worth did not pick his own horse to win, but there's Shabuzi looking awesome. Livy Dunn did Riders Up yesterday, going with Flying Mohawk as well. Xavier Leggett, Panthers wide receiver, Chunk of Gold, starting a stretch of Chunk of Gold. Hall of Fame quarterback Warren Moon in the house. Simone Biles, we heard her say, Chunk of Gold, 11-time Olympic medalist, many chunks of gold in her closet back home. Those are the red carpet moments here on Derby Day in Louisville, Kentucky. Here are the current odds. If you haven't made your pick, I would recommend doing so pretty quickly. The favorite is Journalism Sandman. That is America's pick. So apparently the horse named after the Metallica song, Enter Sandman. A lot of Metallica fans out there in America, of course. Why wouldn't there be? So Sandman is America's pick. Now it is time for our picks presented by Twin Spires. Our good friend Mike Tirico can't be here right now, but he is getting his pick in. He is going with journalism, so I'll lock that in for Mike. I will take Baeza, who I think may be the best value in the field so far. Those are our two host picks. Jerry, an analyst pick.
I am going to assume that journalism will like the wet track, and I'm going with the journalism.
He's never been on a wet track, but you can say that about 13 horses in the Derby field. I'm not going to overthink this. Journalism for me, too. Donna?
Well, I should probably take Luxor Cafe because he's run so well on an off racetrack. But you know what? I'm the kind of girl who stands by my man. It was Sovereignty for me yesterday, Sovereignty for me today. Kenny Rice.
He is the most versatile horse in this race. He has done nothing wrong so far. Michael McCarthy doing a great job with him. I am picking journalism. Nick?
I like Sovereignty, Kenny. I think he'll be the best of the closers, and they're still going to go fast. If Donna's the kind of girl that stands by her man, so are you, right?
I can't believe we picked the same horse. I don't know if that's a good or bad thing.
Remarkable.
Sovereignty for me to reign supreme. Dylan, what about you?
I can remember American Pharoah winning it all, and I'm going to keep it in the family. I'm going with one of his sons, Publisher. Rebecca?
Okay, I'm going to go with journalism. Yesterday, Eddie Olczyk said to me, journalism breeds a different air to every other horse. Sorry, Edzo, have I taken your line there?
That's a very good line, by the way, Rebecca. Look at 7-2. We're looking at value now for betting the Kentucky Derby. 7-2. You bet 2, you win 9 total. To me, that's unbelievable value. He takes 2 steps for every other horse that takes 1. I'm going 8. I'm going 21. I'm going 14 and 17. But I love journalism.
Well, I got to say, with apologies to my industry, I'm against journalism today. I'm looking at a horse who has already won a race in conditions like this. And, oh, by the way, didn't Justify win in conditions like this 7 years ago? Well, his son, American Promise, Dwayne Lucas, is my pick.
Both of these guys are wrong. Hold on. You're a numbers guy, so you enough with the journalism, okay?
Both of these guys are wrong. Burnham Square. I've been on this horse since January. I'm not going to get off now. There's going to be pace. The track's not going to be a problem. You saw him walking over with Ian Wilkes, taking it like a professional. North of 15-1. That is the value of the race. Burnham Square gets it done.
Lots of options, Amit.
I mean, what is going on here? Steve is against journalism. Edzo's complimenting his own line with the connections of Sandman.
Ahmed, thank you. The owner of West Point Thoroughbreds, one of the owners of Sandman, Terry Finley, and Griffin Johnson, who is an influencer. I might be on YouTube and TikTok and don't even know it. Let me ask you, what about this horse coming over? You've won one before. You've been here before. What about Sandman makes him special?
All good, Kenny. I think he's going to bring his A game, and all the partners and the team. I'm just very proud to be part of it. And I tell everybody, if you really want to put some zest in your life, own a racehorse.
A sales pitch and a promise already.
Yes, sir.
Griffin, what's this been like? You're a first-time horse owner, I understand, but certainly you've been around the game. What's it been like not just to be here, but be here with a legitimate contender? I think he's the favorite right now in Sandman.
Yeah, you know, obviously Sandman is a very special horse, and I just want to say thank you to all the people that put so much time and effort into this sport, and I'm just here. I hope anyone watching this, if it's your first time, if it's your 100th time, I just want to say thank you for supporting, and this is the best sport in America, and Gen Z finally has a chance to use our voice.
All right, guys, thank you. By the way, you're the second choice, not bad at 5-1. He'll probably influence that up and become the favorite in just a few moments, Ahmed.
I mean, that I wouldn't put against him. Yeah, you got a Sandman. It's bringing old and young together. TikTok influencer, and whatever the opposite of that is, maybe the opposite is Kenny Rice. They were there together. The paddock scene here on Derby.
With over 200 flavor notes to discover, every sip of Woodford Reserve Bourbon is a spectacle for the senses.
And horses that have shoe repairs over the years, in my experience, the vast majority of them don't get the job done. This is a tough enough task to begin with, Tony.
It's a shame for Cole Battle. I mean, it's a tough enough task with the amount of people that have their eyes on him. You know, that's the biggest crowd that he will ever race in his life. And now he has to deal with more adversity. His shoe, one of his shoes.
Here's Flying Mohawk, just moments away from Riders Up. So let's get through these last 10 here, Tony.
Okay.
Again, very similar to Final Gambit in that the question is, how will he perform on the dirt in a horse race?
He had been training exceptionally well on the dirt racetrack, but I know the connections are really thrilled that the rain has come, that he's getting the sloppy racetrack. You know, he has primarily turf and synthetic racing in his career. He's never been on a dirt racetrack, so the fact that it's sloppy, I think, only benefits him.
Number 12 is East Avenue, just missing the bluegrass last out to Burnham Square. There you see him, should be part of the pace. Let's go to Publisher, second best last out of the Arkansas Derby. He is still a maiden, 0 for 7, 5 on the board performances for Publisher, who really seems to be coming to hand since adding the blinkers. And Tony, the stablemate, is Tistastic, winner of the Louisiana Derby.
You know, they both are hoping for a lot of pace up front. Publisher ran well with the blinkers on, and when they flew early, I mean, he was 16 lengths out of it in the Arkansas Derby and came with a big run.
Try to get a look at Publisher, and we'll try to get a look at Tistastic. In the meantime, let's send it down to Caitlin. The only thing I noticed in the walkover, Caitlin, Baeza was not handling the situation very well.
I agree with that. Since I've had a chance to get a look at a lot of the horses here in the post parade, here in the paddock, he was the one that I think I would probably have the biggest knock on as far as behavior. The one I will say has surprised me has been Sandman. I was very concerned about the type of behavior Sandman would have with his kind of a little bit more high strungness. When I watched him school some this week, he kind of got a little bit agitated a couple of times, but he has been super, super relaxed here in the paddock, which is something that is a little bit interesting to me, but I will agree with you.
The Kentucky Derby isn't too far away. It's the first leg of the Triple Crown, and the countdown is on.
It is journalism just in front of Baeza. Write this down. Journalism is the best in the West. And Sandman, he's run his A race, and he gets a confidence booster, heading to Kentucky.
All right, Tony, let's bang through these. Let's take turns here so we can get through these here in the next several minutes. I'll take Neo Equos, who will be a pace factor, third in the Fountain of Youth, third in the Florida Derby. He's got Luis Saez. They're going to go from the inside, one would suggest, but again, the form needs to improve in order for him to be a factor. Final Gambit, he's going to be hoping for a fast pace.
He will be hoping for a fast pace. I think he drew perfectly with the post position. He's a bona fide late runner, so he doesn't have to do much going into the first turn. His 2 victories at Turfway Park in his most recent starts were both circling moves. I could anticipate Luan trying to save as much ground up the backstretch, tip him into the clear through the turn, and hope the pace just melts down.
And part of that pace should be American Promise, who you would think would be on a send mission with Nick Juarez aboard. Dominant winner of the Virginia Derby last out, 1 1/8 but a 1-turn race. American Promise for the Hall of Famer, the coach, Dwayne Lucas. At Meyer Daytona, we talked about the other Japanese individual, Luxor Cafe, already. This is their second entrant.
Their second entrant, who showed a lot of heart when he was victorious in the UAE Derby. If you are big on Luxor Cafe at 8-1, you should know that Admire Daytona only lost by a nose to him early on in his career.
Now, we want to definitely make note of the fact, and this is an official change from the stewards, and it's not a change, it's lack thereof. There will be no change. You see a lot of the extra equipment that these horses are wearing. There are no equipment changes for the Japanese horses. No changes to the equipment. Anything you see them wearing right now, like that hood that the horse is wearing currently, that will be taken off before they get to the starting gate. So we're not seeing any changes of what we've seen previously. And now we're going to take a look at Luxor Cafe. Same kind of deal, just maybe some equipment that you're not used to seeing them wearing, particularly the headgear. And again, no change will be taken off before the starting gate.
You don't see it frequently here in the United States. There was a horse once upon a time conditioned by Jack Van Berg, Gate Dancer, I believe. Right. That was one of the first that we ever got to see that piece of equipment.
All right, we've talked talked about Luxor Cafe. Let's move on to the favorite, Journalism. Tony, the resume speaks for itself.
It speaks for itself. He looks the part. 7-2 seems like it could be generous when it's all said and done. The knock on him is the lack of competitors that he has faced in California. On only one occasion has he raced against double-digit opposition.
Cool, calm, and collected. And it looks like we're going to go down to Caitlin for a report down here in the paddock. You've got a report on an ongoing issue with one of the, not an issue, but an ongoing situation with one of the horses.
Well, thank you, Joe. Yes, we do have a horse in this year's Kentucky Derby that is currently getting a shoe repair. That is going to be Cole Battle. He is currently over on the side over here. He is getting a shoe repair. So Riders Up may be delayed slightly because of that ongoing situation with Cole Battle. It's just a repair, nothing major, but we do have a shoe repair on Cole Battle here in the paddock.
All right, thanks, Caitlin. We're about 6 minutes away from Riders Up, as you see Burnham Square, winner of the Bluegrass in a relentless fashion last out, and he's been training with the most energy this week. Maybe a little bit over the top in that regard, but maybe not. He looks like he just can't wait to get it on.
His workouts have been awesome. His gallops have been awesome. He has been really full of himself. It's a great story for Burnham Square. You know, Brian Hernandez trying to win back-to-back derbies. Ian Wilkes has been part of a winning team. He just hasn't saddled a Kentucky Derby winner himself.
We've got Cole Battle with an ongoing shoe repair. Let's see if we can get a look at him. Of course, a shoe repair could do just that. Not something that I think is ever a positive. And horses that have shoe repairs over the years, in my experience, the vast majority of them don't get the job done. This is a tough enough task to begin with, Tony.
It's a shame for Cole Battle. I mean, it's a tough enough task with the amount of people that have their eyes on him. You know, that's the biggest crowd that he will ever race in his life. And now he has to deal with more adversity. His shoe, one of his shoes.
Here's Flying Mohawk, just moments away from Riders Up. So let's get through these last 10 here, Tony.
Okay.
Again, very similar to Final Gambit in that the question is, how will he perform on the dirt in a horse race?
He had been training exceptionally well on the dirt racetrack, but I know the connections are really thrilled that the rain has come, that he's getting the sloppy racetrack. You know, he has primarily turf and synthetic racing in his career. He's never been on a dirt racetrack, so the fact that it's sloppy, I think, only benefits him.
Number 12 is East Avenue, just missed in the Bluegrass last out to Burnham Square. There you see him, should be part of the pace. Let's go to Publisher, second best last out of the Arkansas Derby. He is still a maiden, 0 for 7, 5 on the board performances for Publisher, who really seems to be coming to hand since adding the blinkers. And Tony, the stablemate, is Tistastic, winner of the Louisiana Derby.
You know, they both are hoping for a lot of pace up front. Publisher ran well with the blinkers on, and when they flew early, I mean, he was 16 lengths out of it in the Arkansas Derby and came with a big run.
Try to get a look at Publisher, and we'll try to get a look at Tistastic. In the meantime, let's send it down to Caitlin. The only thing I noticed in the walkover, Caitlin, Baeza was not handling the situation very well.
I agree with that. Since I've had a chance to get a look at a lot of the horses here in the post parade, here in the paddock, he was the one that I think I would probably have the biggest knock on as far as behavior. The one I will say has surprised me has been Sandman. I was very concerned about the type of behavior Sandman would have with his kind of a little bit more high strungness. When I watched him school some this week, he kind of got a little bit agitated a couple of times, but he has been super, super relaxed here in the paddock, which is something that is a little bit interesting to me, but I will agree with you. Baeza is the one that I have had some concerns about.
So a brief look at the horses there in the parade ring ahead of the Kentucky Derby. Obviously, journalism engaged as your favourite. A couple of jockeys you might know contesting this race. Obviously, Joe Moreira aboard the number 7 in Luxor Cafe, who brings an impeccable record this preparation with the 4 victories all in a row, looking for 5 in the Kentucky Derby. 6 overall starts for 4 wins and a placing. Been very good this time in. Outside of it, Umberto Rispoli rides the favourite Journalism, and you'll also recognize Christophe Lemaire aboard Admire Daytona, the Japanese representative at the $41. Let's get you on track ahead of the Kentucky Derby here, the Grade 1 from America.
Back in February. Sandman, we knew he'd be the second choice, Tony, up there at odds of 5-1. He's got the resume, he's got Metallica, he's gray, he's got a social media influencer with 7 million plus followers. Second choice, he's going to finish. He's got the stamina, there's no question about it. We'll see if he can keep his head in the game.
That's the whole key with Sandman, his sire Tappet. The protege of Tappet have little quirks to them, and Sandman's still trying to figure it out. They paid a lot of money for him. I didn't expect him to be as close to journalism as the wagering. 7-2 to 5. You did?
Yeah, only because of the factors that I mentioned.
I mean, 7-2 versus 5-1.
Yeah. Sovereignty up there. We talked about him being the value at 9-1, the runner-up in the Florida Derby, but a good win in the Fountain of Youth prior to that in his 3-year-old debut. Chunk of Gold, $2,500 purchase. Ethan West, the trainer, his first Derby. Jared Ludbury a couple of years ago was second best in the Kentucky Derby with 2 fills. Owen Almighty from post position number 20. This is a horse that you would think would want to go, but he's stuck way outside, went to the Tampa Bay Derby when he got loose and lonely on the lead. And then by Aza, we mentioned that he was a little bit unsettled going into the tunnel, going into the paddock. This is a horse that could be better as the year goes on. He was second best last out in the Santa Anita Derby behind Journalism, as we mentioned earlier. We've got Kevin Kilroy trackside. Kevin had a great look of the horses coming out. He's got a good eye for the race horses, and you know these horses like the back of your hand after the last several months. Kevin, what are you seeing? What are you thinking down there?
Hey guys, you know what we want? We want bombs. We want to get paid. It's the Derby. How are we going to do it? We got to find some creative angles in here. You want to play the trifecta? You want to get those tickets going? I'm going to throw you some angles in here that you might want to use to get rich. That's what it's all about. Let's start with the number 6, Admire Daytona. This one, the other Japanese, coming in here. I'll never forget in the UAE Derby. He was up in the gates, ready to roll. Started pawing at the ground, started revving up, and started getting ready to roll. I think the other Japanese is the one that is dangerous in here. 41-1, Admire Daytona. Use that one for sure underneath your trifectas and your supervectas. How about, we're looking around, go to Flying Mohawk number 11, talking to Whit Beckman. He wanted it to rain. He wanted the skies to open up and for the rain to come down, and that's what he got. This horse moves up in the mud. It's a mudder, my people. Flying Mohawk. Another part of this one, blinkers come off. The last 26 races that Whit Beckman has taken the blinkers off of his horse, he's won 35% of them. Watch out for Flying Mohawk. You're getting that price there, 26-1. And we got to talk about Chunk of Gold. Chunk of Gold is a horse that I think with the scratch of Rodriguez, with the pace scenario that we have, he can find that perfect position. Stalking, he's got more pace than it might seem. The pace figures for him are strong. Jared Ludbury, his rider, it's his second Derby. He's been working him in the morning. The gallop out is what he told me about. He said the gallop out gives him chills every time he thinks about it. This horse has energy. You got to get the distance. You're getting the price there, Chunk of Gold. Trained by Ethan West, 27-1. Work him into your wagers, verticals. It's time to write those tickets for Kentucky Derby 151.
All right, thanks, Kevin. Let's take a look at the favorites here as we get closer to post time. Journalism, Sandman, Sovereignty, want to get some looks at them, want to get a look at Citizen Bull as well. And we'll see if we can bring Caitlin Free back on for a final thought here. We'll see if that's possible with Caitlin to find out if she is going to give us her final thought. I know she mentioned before they went out kind of what she was thinking, Tony. We're going to take a look at some of these horses now. Journalism is the favorite. He's a deserving favorite. He's the 7-2 favorite. Everybody, well, not everybody, a lot of people trying to beat Journalism. You know, I went with Burnham Square because I wanted to go with a better price, and he is a better price. But again, if Journalism pays $9 and change and wins the Kentucky Derby, like many think that he will, particularly on the backside where he's all the rage, then you're going to be left shaking your head. Nothing wrong with taking 7-2 on a horse like this.
I agree. I think 7-2 is quite generous on Journalism. the people were right. Scully was right. He said 7-2. I was thinking maybe 3-1. He's a heck of a racehorse. I would have picked him first, but like you mentioned, you picked Burnham Square first because of the value. I picked Sovereignty first because of the value. Sovereignty at 9-1.
Let's see if we can get a look at Sovereignty. He got a little bit washy a few of the mornings at Churchill, but he broke right out of that. You know, he worked, he looked great. The last several days leading up to the Kentucky Derby draw, he's looked fantastic, and all the way through the week leading up to the race as well. This is a horse that's got a great resume, and I said this earlier, journalism included. If I were to pick one horse that I thought for sure was going to run their race, it would be Sovereignty, and you got to be happy with your price.
I love the price of 9-1. We know he likes this racetrack. He's been training great. As you mentioned, he worked out of the washiness that he was having when he first arrived here. The good thing was that supposedly that's something he does on a normal basis, so It wasn't out of character. I think 9-1 is very generous. I mean, if he finishes his races the way he has of late to conclude his 2-year-old campaign and his 2 preps as a 3-year-old, watch out in the final furlong. This horse just levels off like a freight train.
Yeah, we can't really get a great look at him because he was really messy behind the gate before the Florida Derby, and it doesn't appear to be the case here today. Let's take a look at Sandman. There he is. He's become the fan favorite for all the reasons that I mentioned earlier. Cue up Metallica, up there at odds of 5-1. Even watching his earlier races, Tony, I never thought stamina was going to be a problem. That's one of the most important factors, if not the most important factor in the Kentucky Derby, the ability to get 1.25 miles.
The one thing that is concerning is his uninspiring record over the Churchill Downs racetrack.
Right.
He has 3 starts with only 1 third-place finish, but I think he's better now than when he raced as a 2-year-old over this racetrack.
I'd like to try to get a look, if we can, at my top selection here. Burnham Square, again, Tony on top with Sovereignty. Burnham Square, high energy horse. We saw it in the post parade. You mentioned it when you saw him that he looked great. He's definitely high energy.
Yeah, he's full of himself, that's for sure. He's a happy horse. That's what you want. He has very good breeding for an off racetrack, but there are some concerns about maybe the kickback, the mud coming at him. At least that's what I'm hearing from others.
Yeah, no, it's been referenced before for sure, and I don't think any horse loves kickbacks.
I don't think so. But if a horse truly despises it, that's a negative.
Yeah, no, especially when you have to try to deal with it going 1.25 miles. Burnham Square, relentless victory in the Bluegrass Stakes. And Brian Hernandez Jr.
And the horses are on the way to the starting gate post time in less than a minute.
As you can see there, the horses are very much at the start and ready to go ahead of the Grade 1 Kentucky Derby. Journalism is your best back. Ben, we'll come to you for a quick market update ahead of the running of the Kentucky Derby. What's the market telling us?
Yeah, look, this market's really starting to mature now, Emily. Journalism's slightly easy up to that $3.70. Our worst result here at the bookies desk is Luxa Cafe, the Japanese star, possibly being the Joe Moreira fan club making their late moves. Look, another variable that this market's really trying to work out is a really sloppy track. I touched on number 3, Final Gambit, and 18, Sovereignty earlier, and they're still firm in the market and look to be able to handle this really off track. A runner in that middle market that's really cold is Cold Battle, number 16, 21 out to 51, and possibly due to that shoe repair that it just had to have going down to the start. But in summary, Emily, the market's playing those back markers and hoping for that quick early tempo. Favourite, Journalism easy, Sovereignty the key runner, Final Gambit 26 into 18 as they load the horses in the 2025 Kentucky Derby.
Yeah, and the man you saw on screen there was, of course, Bob Baffert, who makes a return to Kentucky. Had a 3-year ban based off a disqualification for a medical violation from his last Kentucky Derby winner in Medina Spirit. He's back just with the one chance, Citizen Bull, in this next one. Let's get you to the Kentucky Derby ahead of its running for 2025.
Baeza. And the last one to load, Baeza. They're in the gate. And they're off in the Kentucky Derby, and some crowding down toward the inside. Journalism has a smooth start, but he was shuffled back soon thereafter. Citizen Bull racing right to the lead, and he comes well off the rail. Citizen Bull 5 wide bias the first time. Neo Equos right there in between, racing in second. Owen Almighty on the far outside is third. An American Promise gets a coveted spot, saving ground on inside fourth. Admire Daytona is out of there, running in fifth. East Avenue from off to pace in sixth. Burnham Squares tethered to the rail with Brian Hernandez. They're running in seventh. Chunk of Gold is eighth. Cole Battle racing mid-pack ninth. Journalism, Umberto Rispoli has him down inside 10th. They're about 10 lengths off the lead as they head to the backstretch run. Flying Mohawk is racing in 11th. Render Judgment on the far outside is 12th. Luxor Cafe is 13th. Publisher is 14th. Baeza 15th. Sovereignty 16th. Tistastic 17th. Sandman is the last of the 19 through a strong opening half in 46 and 1/5 seconds. Down the backstretch they go here at Churchill Downs. Citizen Bull leads the way to the far turn. Neo Equos trying to keep pace. American Promise tried to split those two, is coming under a ride. Owen Almighty advances up, grabs third. Owen Almighty's now third round the far turn. Umberto says go with Journalism. Journalism rocketing past horses. He's up to fourth on the outside, and Sovereignty's following him. Don't forget Sandman. Final Gambit goes to the far outside too. They're off the turn. Here comes Journalism. Here comes Sovereignty, and they square off, heading to the final furlong of the Kentucky Derby. Final Gambit and Baeza trying to close in late. Sovereignty has taken the lead. Journalism has to fight back. Journalism has lost the lead to Sovereignty. It's time for the Royal Blue to don some red. Sovereignty wins the Derby.
That was the running of the Kentucky Derby. Sovereignty takes the top prize, $8.30 and $3.50 in the market. A celebration post the line. Sovereignty on top. If you're looking for extended coverage, I suggest you go to ESPN. They'll have all of the aftermath here post the Churchill Downs Grade 1 Kentucky Derby. Sovereignty had to fight for it. Journalism put up a really good battle, but Sovereignty coming out on top. We can link back in with the team. Let's get you there now.
Got past the 8th pole. Sovereignty, who already had won over the Churchill Downs racetrack as a 2-year-old in the street sense. Here's Sovereignty, Junior Alvarado, Bill Mott, Godolphin. They win the 151st running of the Kentucky Derby.
Alrighty, so over the line, and we're looking for some aftermath for you. Hopefully we can bring that to you shortly. But Ben was spot on in terms of Sovereignty, who takes out top honours. And it was those back markers you saw, first of all, Journalism presenting itself as a chance. There they are out of the gate, so hard in the mud and the sloppy surface to be able to even recognise the colours. But Sovereignty takes the top honours. He put together 2 really nice runs at Gulfstream Park, and he looked primed and ready for the assignment, didn't he, Sovereignty? And he'd beaten a few contenders already that were featuring in the race. It really came down to a battle between the two, Journalism and Sovereignty takes the prize. In terms of the Triple Crown, obviously this is the Churchill Downs Kentucky Derby part. The Preakness is next. That's the 3rd Saturday in May. And then the horses have to drop back to the 1900 metres before the Belmont Stakes. And the Belmont is obviously the 3rd Saturday following the Preakness, normally the 1st or 2nd Saturday in June. And that's 2,400 metres. They have to be so versatile.
All of the jockeys, maybe not all of them, but at least 10 of them came by to congratulate you. You are one of theirs, and now you finally get your first Kentucky Derby win. What's this mean?
You know, first of all, thank you. I gotta thank my Lord Jesus for giving me this Kentucky Derby win. It was him and Sovereignty who got me all the way to the wire. And, you know, it meant the world to me. My family's here. I thought I had a great chance. Mr. Mott, I mean, I was so confident the whole week. I knew Mr. Mott could have done. Yeah, if I had to pick someone, it was Mr. Mott. And, you know, like, we've been a team for a while. It's just like, it's more than even a dream come true just to have it done with him and the Godolphin people who have been very helpful throughout my career too.
Junior, you've overcome many injuries along the way, including an injury 5 weeks ago that set you back for 3 weeks, and he stuck by you. Did you expect that sort of loyalty?
You know, you never know sometimes in the business, but you know, he called me right the day I got out of the hospital. He said to me, you know, do what you need to do. If the horse wins, or finish second or third, you'll ride him back, and you ride all the horses you've been riding, you'll get back on it.
Okay, quickly, you're from Venezuela, your father Rafael was a jockey. What's this mean for the family?
I can't even describe it. I'm pretty sure they're way over the moon right now. Thank you. Gracias. Papá, mamá, los quiero. Kelly, Adrián, Adeline, Axel, y Venezuela, para ti, Venezuela. Thank you.
I think that means he's happy. Let's go to Kenny Brown.
I'm sure it certainly does mean he's happy post Kentucky Derby, and it sounds like a first Kentucky Derby for our winning jockey. Sovereignty taking the big prize in the Kentucky Derby for 2025. And then I guess all eyes turn on the Triple Crown. Up next, as we spoke about just a moment ago, is the Preakness, then of course followed by the Belmont Stakes. And it'll be pretty exciting to get to Pimlico Racecourse in Maryland for the Preakness. That'll be the third Saturday in May over the 1,900 metres. So Triple Crown tests the versatility, doesn't it? The 2,000 metres, drop back to the 1,900 and then push out to that really good staying distance of the 2-4. A big effort for these horses. That 2,000 guineas winner in the UK is Sire is obviously a former Triple Crown winner in Justify, so a real tie-in there in terms of the victory. And of course, Godolphin was successful in the Kentucky Oaks and now successful overnight in the 2,000 guineas as well. Great scenes coming in from Kentucky. It looks like a race meeting you want to put on the bucket list with the glamour, the celebrities, the drama surrounding the Kentucky Derby. And we do have our winner for 2025.